Hello students, let's do the revision of first chapter, that is Introduction to Tax. Indian taxation structure is classified into two categories, which is direct tax and indirect tax. Income tax is an example of direct tax. Custom duty and goods and service tax is an example of indirect tax. Let us see the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. In case of direct tax, the incidence and the levy of tax is on the same person. And in case of indirect tax, the incidence is on one person and the levy is on another person. Let us see what is the meaning of this. Okay. In case of direct tax, what happens? The person who has some income, for example, this person has an income of 12 lakhs rupees. Now this person has an income. So what this person will do? This person will pay tax to the government, to the central government. It will pay income tax to the central government. So what is happening? This person is the one who is earning the income, and this person is paying the tax to the government. He is only liable to pay the tax to the government also. Correct? But in case of indirect tax, what happens? Suppose you go to a shop and you buy a product from the shopkeeper. When you buy a product from the shopkeeper, that product is inclusive of all taxes. Okay. So when you pay money to the shopkeeper, this is a shop and you are this person, you buy one product. The value of that product, suppose you have paid 110 rupees. The value of the product may be 100 rupee and 10 rupee might be the tax. I am assuming that GST is 10 rupees. Okay. You might not know that 110 rupees means 100 rupees is the cost and 10 rupees is the GST. You might not know that. When you pay 110 for the product, you are thinking you are paying for the product. Actually, 100 rupees you are paying for the product and 10 rupees you are paying as GST. So who is bearing the tax? The customer is bearing the tax. But what does the shopkeeper do? The shopkeeper keeps the 100 rupees and 10 rupees shopkeeper pays to the government. Okay. So shopkeeper is liable to pay to the government this 10 rupee. But from whose pocket it is going? It is going from the customer's pocket. Okay. So this is called as indirect tax. So in case of direct tax, the incidence and the levy of tax is on the same person. But in case of indirect tax, the incidence is on one person and levy is on another person. Correct? Let us see the example given. Salary income is earned by the assessee and hence tax on such amount, if any, is payable by the same person. And let us see the example of indirect tax. On purchase of goods by the customer from the shopkeeper, the customer pays GST to the shopkeeper, who in turn will deposit the same with the government. Income tax is a very important direct source of revenue to the government, correct? So when you pay tax to the government, and then government can run the country. Let us see what are the objectives of taxation. Funding law and order in the country, promotion of welfare of the people, development program in specific need based areas and for bridging the gap between the rich and the poor to achieve balanced socio-economic growth in the country. Okay. Who is liable to pay tax? any person whose taxable income for the previous year exceeds the exemption limit is liable to pay to the central government income tax during the current financial year at the rates applicable during the current financial year. What is the meaning of this? Now, suppose take an example of financial year 2019-20 and financial year 2020-21. Okay, from 1st April the financial year starts and it ends on 31st March. So whatever income you are earning during the year 2019-20, which is from 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020, whatever income you are earning during this year will be paid in the next year, following year. Okay, so the tax, the income which you are earning in 2019-20 will be assessed, will be computed in 2021 and paid in 2021. Correct? Okay. Now, in that case, 2019-20 will be called as previous year and 2020-21 will be called as assessment year. The income suppose you are earning in 2021, the income you are earning in 2021, the tax of that income will be computed in 21-22. Okay, and it will be paid in 21-22. So 2021 will be called as previous year and 21-22 will be called as assessment year. Okay, now let us see the PPT. Okay, who is liable to pay tax? Any person whose taxable income for the previous year exceeds the exemption limit. So for your portion, this is there for your portion. Okay, assessment year 2021 is there for your portion. So assessment year 2021 is there for your portion. So for the assessment year 2021, exemption limit is 2,50,000 if your age is less than 60 years. If you are not a senior citizen, then your exemption limit is 2,50,000. If you are a senior citizen, your exemption limit is 3 lakh. If you are a super senior citizen, then your exemption limit is 5 lakhs. Okay. If your age is less than 60, your exemption limit is 2,50,000. That means if your income is 2,50,000 or less than 2,50,000, you don't need to pay any tax. If your age is more than 60 and less than 80, then you are a senior citizen. In that case, exemption limit is 3 lakh. That means if your income is less than 3 lakh or less than 3 lakh, you don't need to pay any tax. If your income is if your age is more than 80 years, then your exemption limit is 5 lakhs. That means if your income is 5 lakh or less than 5 lakh, you don't need to pay any tax. Okay, so these are the exemption limits for assessment year 2021. So let us read what is written. Any person whose taxable income for the previous year, that means the year in which you are earning, okay, exceeds the exemption limit. If your income is more than 2,50,000, is liable to pay tax to the central government. Income tax is the revenue of central government. You have to pay income tax to the central government. Okay. So any person whose taxable income for the previous year exceeds the exemption limit is liable to pay to the central government income tax during the current financial year. In this case, current financial year means assessment year. Okay, at the rates applicable during the current financial year. Current financial year means assessment year. Got it? Let's see the next slide. Insight to income tax in India. The Income Tax Act 1961 came into effect from 1st April 1962. Every year, the Finance Minister presents Finance Bill in his Union Budget announcements. This bill is then passed by both the Houses of Parliament, and as soon as it receives the assent of the President of India, it becomes the Finance Act, which results in some amendment to the already existing rules in the Act. Let us see what is the meaning of this sentence. Okay. Now, in the month of February, there is a union budget. Okay. In this union budget, our finance minister reads the union budget. Correct? Okay. Now, because the portion is assessment year 2021, I will say in that context. Okay. Now, in February 2019, also there was a union budget. Okay. So in February 2019, the finance minister sets the rules and regulations. I will not say rules and regulations, sets the budget, a finance bill for previous year 2019-20. Okay, and that means assessment year 2020-21. So in Feb 2019, the budget is made for previous year 1920. That is from 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. Okay, for the previous year 1920. That means assessment year 2021. So this is what is happening. Okay, so let's see again. Every year, finance minister presents finance bill in his union budget announcements. This bill is then passed by both the House of Parliament, and as soon as it receives the assent of the President of India, it becomes the Finance Act, which results in some amendment to the already existing rules in the Act. Correct? Now for 2020, now in Feb 2020, again there is a union budget. Okay, where finance minister will read the budget, will read the finance bill, and this will be for previous year 2020-21. Okay, that means assessment year 2021-22. Correct? Okay. For this year, our portion is assessment year 2021. Okay, so I will be saying in this context for assessment year 2021. Let us see the basis for charging tax. It is an annual tax on income. Okay, so it is an annual tax of income, means you calculate income for 1 year and you pay tax for that 1 year. Okay, it is on annual basis. Next, income of the previous year is taxable in the next following assessment year at the rates applicable to that assessment year. I have already said this. Tax rates are fixed by the Annual Finance Act. Tax is charged on every person. Okay, it is charged on the total income of the assessee, computed in accordance with the provisions of the Act. Tax is deducted at source or paid in advance under the provisions of the Act. Okay. Now TDS and advance tax you will be studying next year in your 5th semester. Okay, so I will not be explaining you in detail, but let us understand the concept. What is advance tax? For now, you just understand. Now previous year 2019-20 is the year of earning. You earn during this year, that's why it is called as previous year. Assessment year, that for 2019-20 assessment year would be 2020-21. It is the year in which tax is computed, tax is assessed, your income is assessed during 2021 for previous year 2019, and that is why it is called as assessment year. So in this year you compute the tax, during this year and you pay to the government, correct? So you earn, if you are earning in 2019-20, you pay to the government in 2020-21, correct? But if you are paying during 19-20 itself, for assessment year 2021 you are paying in previous year itself, okay, then it is called as advance tax. You are paying tax in advance. Tax which you are supposed to pay in 2020-21 you are paying in 19-20 itself, and that is why it is called as advance tax. Okay, so if you are paying tax for previous year 19-20 during 19-20 itself, it will be called as advance tax. Okay, for now this much is enough. You will be studying advance tax in detail in your final year, in your 5th semester. Okay, and what is TDS? TDS also you will be learning in your 5th semester. Okay, so TDS, now what happens, the income what you are earning, okay, and you are paying tax to the government. You are earning the income, you are only computing, and you are only paying to the government. Okay, so you might do fraud also in this. You might earn 10 lakh but you might show as if you are earning only 1 lakh, right? So that's why, to avoid these things, the TDS was introduced. So in case of TDS, what happens, the one who is paying money, okay, will be deducting TDS and paying it to you. For example, suppose I am a contractor, okay, and I have taken a contract from you, okay, so I am a contractor, so I have taken some contract to build a road or a bridge, and you have given me contract, so you are supposed to pay me money. After building the bridge, suppose this bridge is worth 10 lakhs, okay, some small bridge you have asked me to make, I have made it. Now when you are paying me 10 lakh, this is my gross receipt, correct? This is my income there, right? So in this case, this is my sales actually, right? This is my gross receipt. Okay, so 10 lakh what you are paying it to me, what you will do is you will deduct 1%. The TDS rate differs, okay, for different things the rates are different, that you will be studying in your 5th semester. Okay, we are not concerned with that. In this case, let us say the TDS is 1%. Okay, now when you are paying me 1 lakh, 10 lakh, what you will do, you will deduct 1%, and that 1% in my name you will pay to the government. This is called as TDS. So out of 10 lakh, 1% is 10,000, right? You will deduct 10,000 and you will pay 9,90,000 to me. You will pay 9,90,000 to me, and 10,000 you will pay to the government in my name. Okay, as if I have paid to the government. It is like I have paid to the government. So what is happening? You are the source of my income. Okay, so this is called as tax deducted at source. So you are liable to deduct tax and you are supposed to pay it to the government. Still, this is direct tax only. This is not indirect tax. Okay. So 9,90,000. Now, when my tax will be calculated, okay, suppose my tax is 25,000. I am supposed to pay 25,000 to the government. So whatever TDS is already deducted, that means 10,000. The government is already having my money, right? 10,000 the government has. So out of 25,000, 10,000 is already paid. So remaining 15,000 I will be paying to the government as my tax. Got it? Suppose my tax is only 5,000. I am supposed to pay tax as 5,000. Or suppose my tax is nil. So the amount which is paid in excess will be refunded by the government. Now I am supposed to pay 5,000. I have paid 10,000. So what will happen? Remaining 5,000 will be refunded. Okay. Similarly, if advance tax you have already paid, okay, that also will be deducted. At the end of the year, when you are paying tax to the government, what you will do, whatever is the tax amount minus advance tax minus TDS and remaining amount you will pay to the government. Okay. Let's see the next slide. There are 5 heads of income. First one is income from salaries. Okay. Second one, income from house property. Third one, profits and gains from business and profession. Then capital gains. Then income from other sources. What is income from salary? The salary income. You are employed under somebody else. Somebody is paying you salary every month. That would be your income from salary. Second one is income from house property. Income from house property means, suppose you have some properties which can be a commercial property also. Suppose you have 2-3 house and you have given it on rent, or you might have some commercial property, some offices, and you might have given it on rent. Okay, there has to be a building attached to the property. Suppose there you have a land and you have given that land on rent. So that will not come under income from house property. There has to be a building attached to a land. Okay. So the rental income received from those property is called as income from house property. Profits and gains from business and profession. Suppose you are a businessman. Okay. And the profit earned, that is income from business. And profits and gains from business and profession. Suppose you are a doctor or a lawyer or a chartered accountant or a teacher or a professor, right? So in that case, you are a practicing doctor or you are a practicing engineer or you are practicing lawyer. So your clients might be giving you your fees, right? So the profits earned will be your income from profession. Okay. Capital gains means, suppose you have any property. It can be land, building, office, house, jewelry, securities. Okay. So when you sell those things, when you sell your property, the profit earned will be capital gains. Next one is income from other source. Income which is not income from salary, which is not house property, which is not business and profession, which is not capital gains, will be income from other source. Okay. For example, bank interest. Okay. That is income from other source. Winning from a lottery ticket, that is income from other source. Then horse race, winning from a horse race, that is income from other source. Suppose you go to a game show like Kaun Banega Crorepati, you won 1 crore rupees from there, that will be income from other source. So these are the 5 heads of income. Whenever you have some income, it has to be either income from salary, or income from house property, or income from business and profession, capital gains, or income from other source. Okay. So how do you compute income of an assessee? First, classify the income under each head. See, suppose you have an income, you have to classify it, whether it is income from salary, or income from house property, or it is income from, you have to classify it is from other sources, capital gains, or what. Okay, it will come under which head, that you have to see, and deduct the deductions permissible under the each head. There are some deductions under each head. Okay, now for salary 50,000 is the deduction. For house property 30% is deducted. So for every head you will be studying that in detail in the next semester. Okay, salary you will be studying in this semester, and remaining heads you will be studying in next semester. So that time we will study in detail. And the balance which is left, it is called as taxable income. Then add up all the taxable incomes. That means you will calculate how much is your income from house property, how much is your income from salary, how much is your income from business and profession, how much is your income from capital gains, how much is your income from house income from other sources. You will see that. Okay, then you will total. Then when you total all the income, it will be called as gross total income. So add up all the taxable income of each head, then what you get is gross total income. Okay, from the gross total income you are supposed to deduct permissible deduction under chapter 6A and arrive at the total income or taxable income. So after calculating gross total income, you will subtract some deductions which comes under chapter 6A, which you will be studying in this semester itself. What all investments are considered are eligible for section 80. Okay, there are some deductions that you will deduct and you will get your total income. Then amount of income tax is then calculated on that total income. As soon as you get your total income or taxable income, you have to calculate your tax. Okay, and tax is as per the rate prescribed by the Finance Act for the relevant assessment year. The amount is arrived as it is subject to any advance tax paid or tax deducted at source. Okay. So as soon as you come to know whatever is your tax amount, so then you will deduct TDS if you have paid any, if your TDS has been deducted, and you will deduct the advance tax, and remaining amount you will be paying it to the government. Okay, let us see the rates for assessment year 2020-21. Okay, the rate is for first 2,50,000 it is nil. Okay, so the exemption limit is 2,50,000, right? So for first 2,50,000 you don't have to pay any tax. Then next 2,50,000, that is from 2,50,001 to 2,50,000 from 2,50,001 to 5 lakh, it will be 5%. Okay, and then next 5 lakh, first 2,50,000 it is nil, second 2,50,000 it is 5%, next 5 lakh it is 20%, and then it is and anything higher will be 30%, anything above 10 lakh will be 30%. So this is the rate for assessment year 2021. Okay, here 10 is written. I'll tell you why 10 is written here, why not 2,50,001. Okay, as per section 288A of Income Tax Act, okay, you have to round off your income. Suppose your income is 256,738. Okay, you have to round it off with nearest multiple of 10. Suppose if your income is something like this, then your income will be considered as 256740. Okay, it is you have to round off in the multiple of 10 as per section 288A. Okay, so that's why 2,10,000 was written. Suppose your income is 250004. Okay, 2,50,004. In this case, your income will be considered as 2,50,000 because nearest multiple of 10 you have to take. Okay, if your income is 2,50,005, then this will be considered as 2,50,010. Okay, so this is the rates if your age is less than 60. Okay, suppose if you are a senior citizen, that means your age is more than 60 and less than 80. In that case, on first 3 lakh it is nil, then next 2 lakh it will be 5%, then next 5 lakh it will be 20%, and anything above 10 lakh will be 30%. Okay, and if you are a super senior citizen, that is if your age is above 80, then on first 5 lakh it is nil, then next 5 lakh it is 20%, and 10 lakh and above it will be 30%. So in case of super senior citizen, there is no slab of 5%. Okay, that's it for today. We'll continue in the next class. Thank you, students.